Welcome back to yet another session of product and brand management. We have passed a stage of wherein we tried to develop an understanding towards design thinking. At this stage, I would suggest that you try to recollect the fundamentals which we have discussed and then try to put up all those fundamentals into the elements of design thinking which we have talked about, because I am sure by this time you would have started noticing the replicable changes instigated by processes or product designs, or you see overall. For example, you would have started noticing that what kind of sitting habits you have generated because of the comfort you are getting in your chairs nowadays, the ergonomics and those kind of things, and from where has it come. So, all these kind of correlations or integration you have started noticing by this time. So, after this, let us start building up our thought process around innovation. It is an interconnected element of whatever we have been discussing up till now, but let us focus on this because this has to be marked, this has to be noticed. The ultimate objective is that all of you with varied experiences and varied objectives in life, but definitely oriented towards marketing and product and brand management, you would like to know where you have a scope of developing innovation, putting up innovation in due course of time in your practical lives. You see, what is innovation? Innovation can be seen with the perspective of a new idea, device or a method, the act or process of introducing new ideas, devices or methods. So, it can be an idea or the act of processing or developing, further developing a new idea. Invention plus commercialization, if you will look at it in totality, although invention is a larger term with reference to innovation. So, invention is the fundamental term, and I would not take you into the hierarchy of how to look at invention or innovation. We are just focusing on innovation, which can be seen as a process that combines discovering an opportunity, blueprinting an idea to seize that opportunity, and implementing that idea to achieve results. Three elements only: process that combines discovering an opportunity, look at something with an with a perspective where you can put up your knowledge, where you can contribute, and definitely there is a business motive as well. Blueprinting that idea and implementing that idea to achieve the results, and definitely putting it up into a business model. There are several dimensions to innovation, because we must choose a point of concentration. Although in product and brand management, I should not be wandering too much away from the discussion from product, but you have realized that while we are talking about product, it is not just the form and structure we are talking about. We are talking about the complementarity of services with the products and the processes and the supplies, everything, because everything is interdependent, and that is why dimensions have to be looked upon with specific concentration. Product, so that is one, definitely the main dimension. You see, changes in things, products or services an organization offers can be referred to as a dimension of innovation. Process, wherein changes in the ways these offerings are created and delivered. Methods, methodologies. Positioning or position, changes in the context into which the products and services are introduced. You see, a good example would be Airbnb, originally positioned around conferences before moving into the general holiday and travelers industry. Paradigm, which is related to changes in the underlying mental models which frame what organization does. Examples include the shift to low cost airlines, the provision of online insurance and other financial services and so on. So, you see, these are the dimensional aspects of innovation. Now, I will be giving you a wonderful example which and this was invented, developed in at IIT Roorkee, the institution where I am standing, one of the greatest institutions in the world, and one of the oldest institution in several countries, and this year we are celebrating 175 years of its existence. 25th of November was the foundation day, and today when I am recording this session for you, it's 27th of November. So, and whole of this year up till 24th of November 2022 would be our 175th year. So, there are several innovations which are being propelled in this great technological institution. One of the most prominent innovations which came up during COVID-19 within a very short span of time is Pran-Vayu. This is a low cost ventilator, and you know how important ventilators are. We have all passed through this trauma and turmoil of COVID-19, and there is no need for us to discuss that, how badly we required ventilators at one part of time, that too at a very, very low cost. You see, the research team from IIT Roorkee, including Professor Akshay Dwivedi, Professor Arup Kumar Das, along with student team with online support from Dr. Devendra Tripathi from All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Rishikesh, teamed up by remote communication to develop a quick time technology to help the distressed in situation of COVID-19. The closed loop ventilator can deliver the required amount of air to the patient with an automated process controlling the pressure and flow rates. The ventilator Pran-Vayu, it is called Pran-Vayu, the source of life, air which propels life, saves life. Pran-Vayu will cost 25,000 rupees only per unit, you see, which is much less many a times as the per day cost of putting up a patient on ventilator. That is what an innovation is. That is where empathy comes in when we talked about that in design thinking. You see, that is the whole objective of taking things to people as and when they require, in whichever way they require, at a price they require, and looking at the sustainability elements and every element which we have discussed up till now. The prototype does not require compressed air and can be useful when open areas are converted into ICUs, and it has lots of portability aspect associated with with itself. Wonderful innovation. I congratulate the team. And you see, marketing process innovation, there is a case study of L'Oreal. L'Oreal is a French cosmetics company with a strong foothold in cosmetics industry all over the world, we know that. One way in which cosmetic companies market their products is by having exhibitions where people get to sample makeup as well as other cosmetics for free. In order to reach a wider customer base in this digital world, L'Oreal developed an app called the L'Oreal Makeup Genius. This app allowed users to do a digital makeover, and by doing so, they were able to sample the best makeups that suited their skin tones. Lenskart website, do you remember? You just go there, you try the glasses on the website. There are several other different kinds of wonderful innovations which are going on in terms of process development. And when you go to the manufacturing side, I talked about Patanjali integrated plant and plants and the several other plants which have gone to zero waste systems basically, and utilizing all the raw material in one form or the other. Then let us focus on types of innovation. So, on one axis you have market, on the other you have technology, and I have been repeatedly suggesting that two-dimensional planes and quadrants are guides for us to know where do we stand. So, a matrix structure wherein market can be new, technology can be new. So it can be thought of as radical innovation, fundamental innovation. And you see, On the other side, existing both ways, that is technology is existing, market is existing, it is called incremental innovation. Let us talk about these things a bit in detail. You see, incremental innovation, existing technology in existing market. The goal is to improve an existing offering by adding new features, changes in the design and so on. For example, each new version of Apple's iPhone that comes out is an incremental innovation. Although many a times you would realize that the features which have been added are fundamental in nature or radical in nature, both ways. But again the point is that device which is being produced is incrementally going forward with add-ons and several considerations in terms of putting something new in front of the customer. Gillette went for a single razor blade to a double blade to now to 6 blades, and then they came back to Gillette Guard when Procter & Gamble took over in India as far as the Gillette operations go. So again you see, and here is an example wherein innovation is not supposed to be always going up 1 plus 1 plus 1. Innovation can be when you put up something in a newer form and reduce the, let us say, features. So we have talked about this, earlier as well, wherein we were mentioning, we were discussing positioning. Residential washers and dryers have been transitioning from top loading to side loading and can handle larger loads as well. Disruptive innovation, existing market, new technology. It occurs when firms introduce offerings that are so unique and superior that they threaten to replace traditional approaches, or let us say this can be seen as that traditional approaches are not so acceptable by people in a growing pattern. That means acceptability about those approaches is getting matured or stabilized in due course of time. And then it can be in terms of, for example, traditional processes or material associated with construction of houses. Although we have yet to decide that it is good or bad. For example, in Himalayan areas, hilly areas in India, I have noticed that there are modern methodologies and processes, including material which is being used for construction of houses, which does not seems to be so healthy for the environment and the area, and also in terms of the local weather. The earlier procedures have been found to be more pro environment as well as people, but somehow people never wanted those processes to exist, that material to be used anymore. So that is where we have to think in terms of innovating upon the usage rather than letting those processes go off which traditionally have been valuable. I will be coming back to this very important element in my last session in this sequence of design thinking, innovation and new product development, wherein I would be talking about product innovation through low cost procedures. Just wait till that time. You see, existing markets are disrupted by new technology. It may create a blue ocean by finding a new market while disrupting an existing one, but this is not typically the case. Then comes in, there are some more examples on disruptive innovation. Digital cameras, for example, and then personal computers is a very famous example. LED lights, we all know, we are all using that. So that is again a disruptive innovation. Then comes in, architectural innovation. Existing technology, new market. Now, it occurs when new products or services use existing technology to create new markets and or new consumers that did not purchase that item before. The smartwatch used existing cell phone technology and has been repackaged into a watch now basically. So there are several kinds of changes which are going on. Firms alter the architecture of the product to create a new product that opens up sales to new markets. Digital ecosystem propellers like Amazon use the innovation strategy to enter new markets and so on. And then a recent example for this, which is done by Amazon, is that they recently entered into the medical care field as well. A good one. Now, then let's go for radical innovation. New technologies, new market. That uses, radical innovation perspective uses new technology to reach new consumers, in a fundamental way. I am not saying at the base way, in a changing things fundamentally, probably, in terms of paradigm. Firms who are successful with a new product or service using radical innovation may then employ a strategy of incremental innovation to continually improve the product or service and generate more sales. So, it will move up the ladder in due course of time, and that is where we come to know that the quadrants might change depending upon how the market would grow and it stabilizes. So, the product would change the as far as the quadrant position which we have just discussed. The magnetic resonance imaging MRI machines use electromagnetic forces instead of X-rays to produce images internal to the body and so on. And there in medical science you would realize that there are thousands and thousands of radical innovations which have come up thanks to our technology enabled experts all around the world. I definitely commend the IIT students for their technology orientation and learning and knowledge, and the faculty which has developed such kind of processes, and then you see who have contributed a lot in the field of software, electronics, mechanical, material science and whatnot. And then for example, this place we have several departments, several labs working day in day out on such kind of things which are capable of changing the medical science forever. Doblin's 10 types of innovations. There are several other types of innovations which may come your way, but here again the text which we are referring is categorizing innovations into 10 types largely. And you see the 10 types of innovation were established by Doblin, an innovation consultancy firm founded in 1971 by Larry Keeley and J. Doblin. The company is now part of Deloitte and is managed by Larry Keeley, the global thought leader for innovative effectiveness. And there is a book, 10 Types of Innovation, the Discipline of Building Breakthroughs. So, it is an interesting read, go for that and you would learn a lot. The three categories which evolve during the text you go through are three categories of innovation are related to configuration, offering and experience. And now when we say that there is a 10 types framework, so let me take you briefly through that. This 10 types framework is simple and useful tool to diagnose and enrich an innovation or to analyze existing competition. You see, is structured into three colored coded categories in this slide in front of you. And the types on the left side of the framework are the most internally focused and distant from customers, although they are very much integrated with the customer and they are integrated with the other categories as well, which we will realize in just a short while from now. So just look at it as a scale wherein four categories they focus upon or sorry 4 elements they focus upon configuration, 2 of them focus upon offering and 4 focus upon experience. Let us think of configuration very briefly. You see, while looking at configuration wherein profit model, network, structure and processes are the mainstay. So, profit model, the way in which you make money, and I have been telling you that the design thinking perspective, the product management perspective, the innovation perspective has to have a business model and a revenue model all through. For example, how Netflix turned the video rental industry by implementing a subscription model, and today they are going much ahead. They are using lots of AI and lots of programming in that. Network connections with others to create value, starting from the starting from your team to the customers. So everyone is involved. For example, Lego partners with its consumers through Lego Ideas website. In the online platform, consumers submit new Lego set ideas. The winning submission may turn to real products with possible profit sharing. Structure, alignment of your talent and assets, and process, signature or superior methods for doing your work, means should not be imitable. For example, how Zara's fast fashion strategy moves its clothing from sketch to shelf in record time. So, that is their ability basically. And then there are several examples. Offering, you see, as far as the component of offering goes, you have two elements: product performance, product system. And when we talk of product performance, Toyota is one of the most famous examples. There are books on Toyota way of manufacturing and so on, and Toyota performance and so on, and several other products are there in this world, but this is a famous example. So, Toyota is a Japanese multinational automotive manufacturer founded in 1937, we all know that, and the Toyota Prius was the first to commercialize hybrid drive technology and revolutionize the automotive landscape. Then when we are talking of product system, you see how Nike Plus parlayed shoes, sensors, apps and devices into sport lifestyle suit. So, they combined these aspects into as far as reaching to their customers and serving them with best of their abilities. Experience, wherein customer engagement, channel, brand and service, 4 elements are there. Now, customer engagement, for example, how WII's experience draws more from the interactions in the room than on screen, and channel, for example, how Nespresso locks in customers with its useful members only club, and this is not a limited list. You see, in every category I am just pointing out some of the examples which have done well. You can just go on surf in books, in literature, on websites, and you would realize that there is whole lot of a structure around what we are discussing. There might be several overlaps in the examples which would be justifying one element more than the other element, but this is what we have to learn. We have to find the elements and then find the integration between them. Now, let us look at the overview of product innovation. The primary objectives of product innovation are to create value, to obtain a competitive advantage and to achieve long-term success through the development and commercialization of new products and services. The principal drivers of product innovation are customers, markets, stakeholders and the other constituents in the business environment. Product innovation focus is on meeting customers' needs and expectations as they evolve, and it includes several essential aspects: examining the need for new products, processes and services, determining the proper direction and fit for new products, establishing the appropriate game plan for the entire management system for developing and commercializing new products, selecting new product opportunities for investments, and here you would realize that innovation is taking us towards a discussion of new product development at the end. That is how the thing is. You start from fundamentals, go to design thinking, come to innovation, and automatically you will start thinking in terms of newer products, and that is how newer products have come our way all through. Just stare at your mobile phone once again and you would realize that. Enhancing the organizational capabilities to create successful new products, creating the new product and executing the new product development program at the end of the day, and that was I was trying to say. Now let's look at this composite, simple, complicated looking figure. It's very simple though, and then you see that is why it is called simplified model of primary elements of product innovation. I'll spend few minutes on this figure just to draw your attention towards the fact that product innovation is at the core, or we are looking at product innovation with its concentricity. Now, if you will look at the two-way directions, which are coming to and emanating from product innovation, going towards technical, marketing, production and finance arenas, and on the other side technology development and research and development, and product innovation leading to new product development, and the relationship between again the preceding two boxes and the new product. Only this much of this figure talks about the importance of product innovation, new product development, along with a focus on process, marketing, positioning or paradigm and product, which we have talked about till now. Now, if you just elaborate this discussion, it comes towards product delivery systems, then would take you to an entirety of product management and technology innovation. That means it will derive things towards a next stage of taking you, where you can imagine how product management is being influenced by product innovation, and how technology innovation is emanating through all this, how product innovation is becoming an input for further technology innovation. And then product management and technology innovation are related to strategic management, that is an organizational level perspective. And why not, that organizational level perspective can also be seen with the perspective of an entire industry, because many a times you have very less number of players in whole of the industry. For example, microprocessors, microchips, or let us say design thinking organizations, or let us say design organizations. There are large number today, but at the core, and in integrated marketing communication, there are 2-3 groups only from where the whole of the situation is emanating. And if you will look at that industry, you would realize that where you are looking at strategic management, it represents the industry based strategic management rather than organizational strategic management. So, you see, depending upon how many people are there involved, or how many organizations are involved in one particular industry structure. And then there are aspects of market forces, technological forces and the business environment, which is actually connected to or influencing this whole structure. Just go through this and start enumerating the linkages with the perspective of examples which you can observe, or choose one narrative, one product. For example, one of your favorite automotives, or let us say one of your favorite innovative courses which you would have observed in due course of time in some institution or some university, or let us say anything which has attracted you in recent times in terms of being a product. For example, if you have witnessed a unique usage of a drone, just look at that and start putting up that example, taking it in a flow as far as this structure goes, and you would realize that one simple thing which you would have observed has a correlation with almost all the elements and has an ability of driving whole lot of a structure in itself. That is what is the power of design thinking and innovation. I will be coming back to you with lots of insights on innovation, and then immediately traversing the thoughts, or I will be taking your thoughts immediately after that towards new product development, wherein we would be talking about several kinds of examples, because ultimately the objective is that by the end of this discussion on product management and before we go towards brand and brand management and branding and those kind of things, you somehow reach to a situation wherein your thought process takes you towards observations related to wherein you feel like developing something new, either in the form of a product, process or usage. I will be coming back to you with yet another discussion on innovation. Till then, goodbye.